Hey there, welcome everyone. What you're seeing on screen is our new fancy schmancy graphic that I'm going to give all the credit to Veronica because this is her template. So let us know what you're thinking about it in the comments because it's new. So all right, now they're going to be able to see you, Veronica, because I just hit it. So now they can see our faces.
Oh, cool.
Welcome everyone to the Marketing Your Passions show. We go live every Tuesday, 1 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Central. And you are on with myself, but I'm going to allow Veronica, my beautiful co-host, to introduce herself first. So hit it, Veronica.
Oh, hi, I'm Veronica Jeans, and I'm an e-commerce mentor and coach, and I love being here on Tuesdays talking about marketing, a huge subject.
Marketing is amazing, and my name is Claudia Sheridan. I'm a digital marketing strategist and coach. So basically what we do in a nutshell is we help you market your products or services online. So today's topic is a very fascinating one because it talks about budgeting. Oftentimes, when we get started with our marketing, we think it's going to cost us a lot of money. And quite honestly, I mean, you really should budget a lot of money for it. But that doesn't mean it's going to cost you that amount. So if you're joining us today for the first time, or if you've joined us in the past, you have any questions about marketing, please leave them in the comments. And if we see them, we will respond to them. If we don't see them during the broadcast, then we'll definitely come back to them and give you guys an answer. But let's talk about budget. So Veronica, in total full disclosure and all honesty, when you first started out with your business, your online business, what did you think about paying for marketing?
Oh, no ways.
Right?
Everything organic, right? But the times have changed, right? Times have changed.
Totally. And I think that we all think that way because I was the exact same way. I mean, here it is. I do Facebook ads for people, and yet I really wasn't running very many Facebook ads for myself at the time because A, I was busy with everyone else's ad account, but B, I thought, well, I'm getting people, I'm getting clients, and so I don't need to market. And there's been a huge paradigm shift, at least for myself, that no, you need to continuously market. And so for the past few years now, myself, along with my clients, I mean, we are continuously marketing with campaigns because it's so important. And so I want to start by defining marketing and how it's different from sales. Veronica, you want to take that one?
Absolutely. And what I call advertising, right? So advertising is part of marketing. It's not the marketing, right? It's part of marketing, and that's what you are going to be paying for, whether you do marketing on social media or offline on, the billboards, the magazine or whatever. That's advertising, right?
Huge. I mean, marketing and marketing to me is, creating that general awareness. It's getting out there. It's everything that you do to let people know who you are and how you can help them.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yes.
And then,
yes.
And so that does include things like a billboard, or print ads, or, hey, let's face it, going to a networking meeting in person. I like to think of it as this huge marketing pie. And one of my dear friends, Rachel Cosgrove, she has this great way of explaining it where she talks about it is a marketing pie. And, your pie has all these different slices and it's just not one component. And it doesn't mean that you have to do everything, but the more you do, the more you spread it around, the tastier your pie is going to be, right? It's not just going to be a one-dimensional pie.
Absolutely, yes.
It's going to be flavorful. It's going to be like a fruit tart with all this flavors on it. So that's marketing. So just to be clear, anybody watching from here on forward, at least when you hear myself or you hear Veronica talk about marketing, that's what we're talking about. It's about getting your names out there. And then, so Veronica, let's talk about sales. What is sales?
Sales is when you are, I assume is when you are actually selling something, a product or a digital or whatever online or offline or services. That's sales, right?
Totally.
When you go out and actually make the sales. Hey, I've got a product. Please buy my product.
please buy my product. So that's when we have like a call to action. That's when we're asking something and the result is transactional, right? So some kind of transaction is occurring. And sales doesn't always mean the exchange of money. No. And people don't always get that. And especially online, it's interesting to me because people say, well, I'm just asking for an email address. Well, when you're asking for an email address, you're basically making a sale as well. It's just the currency is an email address, right? It's a this for that, a tit for tat, a quid quo pro, that, that we're asking for something in return of giving something else to them. And that's transactional. So that's sales. Marketing is not transactional. Marketing is, learn about us. This is who we are. It's that part. It may be, hey, check out the types of products we can offer you. That could be marketing. Or, look at my cool new widget, which is actually a remote control to my fan. But check out my new cool widget. That is marketing. Buy the widget is sales.
Yes. Or right? when you're talking about yourself, or you say, you're telling people behind the scenes, or how they can use your product, or there's so many ways to do marketing than just saying, hey, I've got a product, right? Because it's all about, especially small businesses, and small businesses can make a few million as well. It's not very small and you're not making money. It's all about the personality behind the business is what you're marketing, because people have to know you and trust you to be able to buy from you. So they will hop onto your website or your store and nothing happens. It's like you hear, okay, I've had a few hundred people popping or 1,000 people popping on my website, no sales. They don't know you. They're just coming to check you out. So this is it. Before we get married, we have lots of coffees, right?
Oh, there you go. Hey, it's like courting on a relationship, before you don't, and I love that analogy. I mean, it's kind of in your face and blunt, but you don't walk up to a person in a bar and say, hey, do you want to have sex? Or, hey, do you want to get married?
I wasn't going to say that.
I'll say it. I mean, come on. If they don't like it, then they shouldn't probably work with me if I'm going to say things like this. And I'm okay with that.
Exactly. It's you're not going to be immediately friends with somebody if you're just meeting them. It's all that, hello, tell me your story. Let's go and have another coffee. Let's do this. They check you out. Then you become friends. Well, you're acquaintances.
Yes.
And then if you start exchanging favors, then you're friends, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's a courting process that occurs.
Yes.
And yet when it comes to online businesses, we tend to basically jump online and say, hey, do you want to get married? Yep. And then we wonder why it didn't work. Or we wonder why, I mean, no offense to all the good guys out there, why creeps are approaching us. And you know what I mean? It's like, if we want a quality client, then we need to put in the effort. And we need to make sure that we start to, and I don't want to harp on know, like, and trust, because I feel like that's just, beat to death. But it is about getting to know somebody and trying for them to determine if they want to do business with you and if you want to do business with them. And I can imagine that, and I know this happens a lot with service, so we'll talk about service here in a minute, but I can imagine with products that when you have somebody who creates a new Shopify store and they're like, all right, I got my widget on the website. I have no presence. No one knows who I am. Go sell.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Is that the general consensus of how people tend to be when they start working with you?
Absolutely. And then just run one little ad. Oh, no, it's not going to work. Well, it doesn't work. Then let's get on to something else. Instead of slowly building that relationship, building that community, and then selling to them. So we used to do emails. Emails was huge even before the internet, right? Well, it was the internet, but we didn't do a lot of social, right? I can't even remember what we did we did email.
We did email, we did ads. We attended networking events.
Google.
We joined the chamber, Google ads, Yahoo. I used to do, back in the day, I was doing pay-per-click on Yahoo.
Exactly. Yep. But now, so just because we are socializing on social doesn't mean that we actually, we can just go and sell out there.
Right.
I was going to mention something else, but I got a bit sidetracked. but so yes, so every time it is the same thing. I've got to persuade customers to go, You have to start letting people know that you're actually online. There's so much competition right now, and there is Amazon.
Yes.
So everybody trusts Amazon. Why? Because we know Amazon, but what people don't realize is that all these little vendors and companies are selling stuff to them, not Amazon, right? Amazon has strict rules and everything, but they know Amazon. It's like they go to Target or they go to Macy's. They know Macy's.
I think, not to interrupt you, but I'm going to, but I think of Amazon almost like a huge consignment store.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's just this huge, like, if you walk into an antique consignment store, you know, everyone has their little tiny booth. You walk through, you pick your thing, you go to the front, you pay.
Yes.
And then at some point in time, the consignment store will settle up with whoever brought in that furniture or that clothing. And that's how I think of Amazon.
Exactly. But people don't realize it. It's still that we trust Amazon. Besides, they get it to us fast, but we still trust Amazon. But so now you, as a small little business, come in and you go, oh, I've got these products and they're really cool and everybody loves them and they're the best in sliced bread and nobody knows you're around.
Right.
So you have to slowly start building, and it's the same thing as you said. You know, so if you had a store, a retail store, and you open up and you go, and nothing happens, right? Nothing happens because you've done no advertising. You have told nobody.
You told nobody. You just popped up one day. You don't even have a sign out in front of your door, or maybe it's printed on a dot matrix printer.
Exactly. So you open the doors and you go, yes, they're going to be lining out the door. And so talking about lining out the door. So every time Apple sells a product, and unfortunately I'm an Apple fan now. I'm not
Me
a
too.
PC.
I love Apple.
I'm an Apple. But every time they sell a new product, they talk about it, they make everybody else talk about it, they make everybody wonder about it, and everybody's chit-chit about it. Then they bring it to market, and then they have the lines.
Right.
So how long does Apple, now Apple is a $billion-trillion company.
I think they're just now it's just trillion or something. I don't know, just a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money, right? A lot of money. They are a huge company. They still do pre-marketing and getting the community going, right?
So I read something that was really interesting. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, but somebody said, you know, think about the larger companies that don't use social media, and one of them was Apple. They used Apple as an example, and so it was so interesting to me because it's like, you know, maybe you don't see Apple promoting their stuff directly on Facebook, but everything is promoted indirectly. All of, you know, all of those articles that are spoken about Apple, and first they already have a name recognition, and if you're just getting started out, you cannot compare your marketing with someone as large as Apple. I mean, yes, online marketing and creating ads and things like that does put you in a position where you can play in the same field as the big boys or the big girls, whichever gender you want.
Yes.
But you need to understand that players are skilled at different levels, and that's just the reality of it. So as a small business, you're coming in at a different skill level, a different budget level than other people are. And that's important to remember.
But also, I mean, they started by getting their name out, doing what they need to do. Then they became big, right? So we need to start there as well, right? We need to start doing those baby steps and consistently saying, hi people, I'm here.
Right.
And the sea is so full of companies that are selling stuff. I mean, everybody who thinks I can do this is online and has a store.
Oh, totally.
So, exactly, right?
And if they don't have a store, then maybe they're selling something else. I mean, think about, you know, we love all our multi-level marketers and our direct sellers and however you want to identify with.
Yes.
You know, we love them because, yes, they do provide us a service, and some of the products we love and some we don't love, and whatever that case is. But when they get first involved, they're like thinking, oh, I have friends on Facebook and I can sell and I can make a lot of money. But they don't necessarily want to invest in their money. And my friend Rochelle Tamusha, she did a video yesterday that she is the author of the $1 Million Equation. And we were sitting there chit-chatting, and she made a really good point during one of her videos and afterwards when we were talking about how you start off in a business and you think that just because you have your friends and families that all of a sudden you're going to become this millionaire because everybody's going to want your product or service. And the reality is is that your friends and families aren't the ones that are going to turn you into a millionaire. And oftentimes they're not even the ones that are going to buy from you. They're the ones that are going to support you. I mean, they want you to succeed, but they're also going to be the ones that are quickly going to forget what you do for a living.
Yeah.
You know, just because it's almost like, you know, you're too close to them.
Yes.
And so if that's where the expectation is to get rich off of your friends and family, it's
not going to happen.
It's coming from the wrong place.
Yeah.
But if your expectation is to truly start an online business, then there are certain things that you should be planning for.
Yes.
And one of those, if you've never taken a business course, for anybody who's watching, Google business plan. You know, go on Google, write the words business plan or business plan sample, and you will see that every single one of them mentions a section for what's your marketing plan, which is a subset of your business plan. So then it comes down to, okay, I've just opened the store or I've opened a business. I had a client who was a CPA, and it was so funny because he said, you know, I'm going to give this online thing a try. No,
I love it when they say,
right? I'm going to give this thing a try. I've been advertising in the blah 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 magazine for the last 16 years.
Yes.
But I'm going to give this online thing a try to save money. And my first question to that person,
save money.
Save money. Well, my first question is, well, how is your online advertising working? Because if it's working, don't stop doing that.
Yes.
You know, this isn't a this or that. This is a this and that, right? It's inclusive.
Yes.
And so then we started with online marketing. First of all, God love you CPAs that can work with numbers all day. I couldn't do it. But it's a CPA. Yes. And so you can't expect to get the same type of traction as you would like a beer company would, or somebody selling alcohol or party or entertainment.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's two different, we used to call, you know, sexy product and not sexy. And I was speaking to another one of my good friends, Tim. Shout out to Tim if you're watching this on the replay, because I know he's out there working. But Tim and I were talking, and you know, he has an AC company. He goes, what do you think about Instagram? Should I be on Instagram? And not to go all, you know, sexy or have this turn, but I was like, dude, if you want to have an Instagram following with like 6, you know, so I'm going to objectify men right now for just a moment. So bear with me. If you don't like it, fast forward. If you like it. But I was like, unless you're going to show me like pictures of 6 really hot guys putting in this air conditioning system with their shirts off, I really have no interest to follow you on Instagram.
Exactly.
Not going to happen. And he was like, no, I get it. And it's not that you can't make products sexy, or it's not that you can't make things sexy, but you have to think about it from the perspective of what is attractive to the individual, because you are not your client.
But also, it depends where his clients are, right?
Right.
So are they really looking for air conditioning on Instagram? I don't think so. They are checking out fashion and all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff, but definitely not Instagram.
Definitely not Instagram.
Yeah.
And the CPA as well. You know, should I open an Instagram account? And I'm like, I mean, if you want to, but I'm not quite sure what you're going to show. I mean, how sexy can you make numbers, and how interesting can you make it? And to some, that is like, you know, number porn, and I get it.
Yes.
But to the majority, it may not be. And the reality is that if you're a CPA and you're trying to get the attention of people who do not do their own books, then they probably don't find numbers as sexy as you do.
Exactly.
Right?
And so you got to find out where your customers are lurking, right?
Totally.
So if it's a business to business, you're not B2C, right? They're not looking for individuals. They're really looking for businesses. It depends. But then again, you know, the individuals on Instagram are not looking, I can find my CPA on Instagram.
Totally. Oh, hey, check out my CPA. You know, and there was a dentist who made his rounds on Facebook as well as Instagram for a little while, and he was dancing. He was like the dancing dentist.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. I was like, I will watch him any day. And again, not to objectify men, but hello, he needs an Instagram account, and he should absolutely. He has a face for Instagram.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
And so that can totally work towards his benefit. But if your client is not primarily there, then it's probably not a good thing. You need to think about where your clients are. And with Tim, we had a big conversation about that yesterday as well. Where are your clients? Who are they most likely to be? Because they're not you. So let's talk about money. I want to welcome anybody who's joining us now. You are on the Marketing Your Passions show. We are live every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Central. And you are on with my co-host, Veronica Jeans, e-commerce mentor and expert, and myself, Claudia Sheridan, digital marketing strategist and coach, and we are talking about marketing and budget. So let's jump into the budgets part. We just spent a whole bunch of time talking, or at least not a whole bunch, 20 minutes talking about marketing and what kind of a precursor to before you even get to your budget point, because otherwise you're wasting money, right?
I can't believe how much money people spend. I'll probably smack myself against the head in a minute. How much money people spend on getting their website up. I heard a number, somebody mentioned $10,000 to get this restaurant website up, and they're not advertising. I mean, really, so, and then they say, well, nobody's finding me.
Right. And no one comes here. Or they'll do the same thing like on Facebook, and they'll say, I created a Facebook page, I'm on Facebook, but nobody engages with my content.
Yes.
Or no one knows I'm there. Or, and so then what they do is they might push like the little blue button to boost something and go, oh my God, this is so great. I got in front of 4,000 people. It only cost me $20, but no one bought. Therefore, it didn't work.
Yes. So, and exactly, so there's two investments that you need to make in your business: money and time.
And I love that you used the word investment, because an investment means it may or may not pay off, right? Yes. That's an investment. It may or may not pay off. And B, the goal is to get a return on that investment.
Yes, exactly.
Right? This isn't a casino where we're going to put in some money in the machine and pull the handle down and hope that we win big. And I think that a lot of people think that's what digital marketing is when they pay for advertising on digital marketing. They think, hey, this is like going to the casino. We put some money in, and I'm going to win big. And when I don't win, it's the casino's fault because it's rigged.
And then they boost it.
Yes, and they boost it. And then it kind of goes this vicious cycle. And then we have these conversations where I remember one person sat there, and again, God love her because this is what she was able to do, but she was following me for a while, and I was working with her a little bit and trying to help her out. She didn't have a large budget. And she called me one day and she said, Claudia, I'm so excited. I saved $10 towards marketing this month.
No.
Yes. And I was like, oh, sweet thing. Go to Starbucks. Enjoy a coffee. You're going to get so much more pleasure out of that than you are if you put this $10 into digital marketing. Yeah. Because that's not going to get you the traction that you need. And so let's talk about the number. I mean, when you're working with your clients, Veronica, because I know what I have in mind with my clients. When you're working with your clients, what do you tell them to expect? How do you advise them for budgeting when it comes to marketing?
Okay, so there's a saying that says you get what you pay for. Right?
Yep.
So if you are, and I try and persuade them to have a sort of a minimum budget of at least, and this is small, $300 a month, right?
Right.
$10 a day. Please.
And some people are like, oh my God, that's so huge, Veronica. What are you at? $300? What?
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But at the end, it's $10 a day.
Exactly. It's
not that much money.
$10 a day. Yeah.
It's not that much money.
But even, starting a business and you've got all your products and you spend a lot of money without thinking about your marketing and your advertising budget, and then you start your business, you go, oh shoot, I've spent so much money, and so I've got nothing left to actually spend on money. Eat less, go on a diet, at least.
Right, top ramen, baby, $1 or 10 cents a pack.
Right? At least spend. Then maybe minimum budget I say is literally $100. I'm trying to help, and it's very, 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 very hard. So the less you spend, the longer it takes, right?
Awesome. I mean, definitely. I tell people you can have things done well, you can have them done fast, you can have them done cheap. You can only pick two.
Yes, exactly.
So if you want it done well, and you want it done cheap, it's not going to be fast. And there's a lot of people that promise quick results, results quickly. And it's so interesting because if you talk to those people that have used their services, they'll tell you, yeah, I got a bunch of leads, but they weren't quality leads. So what they were going for out of those three things, they were going for cheap and fast, which means it wasn't done well.
Exactly.
Right? So our goal here is we always want it done well. Always want it done well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So then there's a balancing act between budget and quality. Right?
And so if you
budget and time,
Exactly. So if you don't do it well, you look cheap.
Right?
Really? So you're not taking decent photographs of your products because you're too cheap to either invest in a good camera. I mean, even a good cell phone these days. Hello. And make an effort, maybe getting them cleaned up a little bit, and then maybe paying somebody to help you to do some advertising because you really don't know what you're doing.
Or work with someone to learn how to do it.
Exactly. Or get some coaching or something. But for goodness sake, don't push the boost button. Then it doesn't work, right?
So let's talk about that boost button really quick, because I want to educate on the boost, because clearly Veronica and I are not fan of the boost button. And there are times when it's like, okay, if your audience is strictly identified and it's already been saved and you can pull to that specific audience, and if you're going for an awareness campaign, which means you're going to get in front of as many people as fast as possible, those are the only conditions, and you must meet both of those criteria, that I would tell you, okay, click the boost. But most people don't do that. Most people will sit there and they go, oh, I had a $10 credit, or I spent $3 and I clicked boost, and then they get upset because it didn't work and it didn't generate sales. And I had one woman who just called me and she said, I want to talk to you because I want you to manage my Facebook marketing and my advertising. And I was like, okay, cool. Have you tried it? What kind of results have you gotten? And she's like, I tried it and it just didn't work. And so I asked, well, how much money did you put? And how many times did you try it? She's like, well, I ran an ad once, and it turned out she clicked the boost button. She's like, and I put $3 towards it and it didn't work. And that's frustrating. And I was like, $3? Like, it was $3. First of all, if you're freaking out over $3, you need to take a step back and consider if you want to be an entrepreneur and if you want to have your business.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because being a small business owner, especially when you're first getting started, it's feast or famine, man. You have some great days and you have some really crappy ones.
Well, let's tell them we have some great months and you have some really crappy months.
And some really crappy months.
There's
a lot of peaks and valleys in it. And so if $3 is freaking you out, then, do yourself a favor, buy a ream of paper, send your resume out to a bunch of people, and you'll have a lot less stress.
I know, right? I know, right? So why not? So, it's so if you go to a networking event, they think it's cheaper because they're paying for food or the coffee or the breakfast or whatever.
Right.
And so instead of going to those networking events where you're meeting people individually, I still do think you need to do networking, but that's just an example, right?
That's just another piece of the pie.
It is absolutely a very important piece of the pie. But, I mean, you're spending $25 in one day for breakfast.
Yep.
$60 for a good lunch, with a big lunch where you're going to meet all these millions of people that they're going to come to this convention, dinner or whatever. And you only meet 10 because they're in your table. Or you're going to spend X amount on going to another event.
Right.
So why are you spending, the question needs to be asked, why are you spending the money on those networking events? Because you think you're going to get a return on investment.
Right.
You know you're not going to actually make money right away. You'll have to go and go again, get to know the people in wherever you're going. And then you get the business, right?
Yes.
So why wouldn't you do the same thing online?
Absolutely. So at the minimum, and I love again, I usually tell my clients too, we can start at like $1 a day. It's $30 a month, but you're not going to get much traction. But I mean, we can start there. But if if you can go to $300, which is $10 a day, it's going to start to build. When you get that point where you're $20 a day, it's going to build even faster. I had a client that when we started out, and so we ran a campaign. It was for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, somewhere around there. Her budget was, we were doing $100 a day.
Yes.
Okay. $100 a day. We ended up spending about $2,600 for this particular campaign. And it was the very first time we were running to a cold audience. Okay. And I think that's important to note because not everybody knows what a cold audience is. So really quickly, a cold audience is someone who has no clue who you are.
Exactly.
Right? They've never seen you before. This is a cold audience.
Yes.
Then you have a warmer audience. People have seen you a couple of times. And then you have your hot audience who have actually purchased from you before a transaction has occurred. So, we're running to a cold audience. We did about $2,600 in ads. And our return on that was about $1,000. And so some people would sit there and go, oh my God, that was a failure. But if you're going with digital marketing, just like anything, that very first time you need to run it because you need some kind of baseline.
Yes.
So she understands, which I love that she understands that it's a baseline, that we're now able to say, okay, this is the barometer, this is where we got, and now our goal is to make adjustments so that we can increase those results, right? We can get a higher ROI on it, more link clicks, more this, more that, and in the meantime, try and reduce the budget so we can get that all that for a little bit less. But we don't often think of marketing that way, and I love the piece of advice that a very, very, very good, a very well-known person in our space told her he was like, look, expect to lose like your first $10,000. Don't expect that to get that money back for online marketing, and it's because people don't know who you are.
Exactly. It is an investment. I'm amazed you actually got $1,000 of $2,500. That's amazing.
Yeah, right? That's what I was
amazing.
Like, that's so awesome.
Yes.
So now we're trying a different strategy. We're changing a couple things up. We're bringing some things from that particular one. We're adding a couple things. We're making some changes because it's a matter of getting, I think of those puzzle boxes.
Yes.
All the pieces are there. You're just trying to figure out how they fit in.
Yes.
Right? And once you get that puzzle together, then it's a matter of making sure that puzzle is always put together. But there is no set it and forget it.
No, exactly. So, and then, so what I also see is people panic, and then they think nothing is working. Let's quickly change a whole bunch of stuff, and then you don't really know what's working, what's not working. So, you do your branding. I'll call it branding. Your marketing and branding first, right?
Yep.
Then you start seeing something's working, something's not working. You change things a little bit at a time until you realize, okay, this is really doing well, and we'll kick the other things out. So it's testing, and testing on your store is imperative, right? Because people tend to forget that when they land on that store, that they actually have to, first thing, they got to know what you're selling. Really.
You have to know what you're selling. You have to believe in what you're selling. There's so many people that just don't believe at all in what they're selling. And it's like, look, if you're not passionate about it, why should I buy it from you? Because you're the last person I'm going to buy it from. Because,
so what people do is they land on your page, they check you out, they see if it's looking at, you got to have a nice website. I must admit, you got to have a nice website. Right. We're all visual. We can't sell anything. We can't show something that can't touch or feel or smell it. So you got to make it as attractive as possible. The pictures the photos, images have to be able to explain what you're selling.
Yes.
And then so people will pop on and they go, this looks interesting. You go into a new store. You don't go in to buy.
Right.
You go and you go, oh, this looks interesting. I like this stuff. You might buy something if you really needed something. But what I do is I check something out. I'll come back again when I need something, right? So you come into a store, you look around, you go, this is very interesting. Oops, you go walk out the door and everybody goes, no, bye.
We're like, oh,
really?
But wait,
come back.
Wait, Veronica, come back.
Exactly. But they need to actually come into your online store, and then you need to chit chat to them. They need to see your story. They need to see you on Facebook. They need to see you on Instagram, especially if you're a hunk. who sells
It
air
helps.
conditioning. Yeah, right. And then, they have to see you somewhere else where you're lurking, whether it's in an event or whether it's in the blog or whether it's in the news. You don't know where your customers are seeing you, so you have to be
Everywhere.
quite a lot everywhere, right?
You have to try. And I think it's the same thing with service. The service base is a little bit more challenging because, unlike an online store, that there's these products that's kind of interesting that may have these photos where I can zoom in and look at things.
Yes.
A service is different. You think whether you're air conditioning repair, you're a CPA,
Yes.
a dog trainer, a chiropractor, a vet, whatever
Yes.
that is, a digital marketer. There's
Yes.
a lot that goes on with education. And
Yes.
and building
Absolutely.
of that trust. And so when
Yes.
you have your website, people will say, do I need a website for my service business? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, do you want people to know who you are? Do you want people to learn more about you once they find out who you are?
Yes. Yes.
Because if you're about to see my finances, or if I'm going to trust you with my dog, or with my house, or whatever that case is, I probably
Exactly.
want to get to know you a little bit better. And that's what your website does. And so, there's blogging that occurs, and a lot of people go, I don't want to blog. Well, then just call it something different. Call it
Yes.
articles. Just call it something
Yes.
different.
Yes.
But
education.
it's education. It's saying this is what's going on. This is why you should do business with me, because I know what's happening and I know what's current. And then the question becomes, how do you make that interesting? Because in the service industry, I'm sure as well as in a lot of the product industry, there's a lot of very proud people. Pride. Oh my gosh. Egos galore.
Yes.
And so you need to put your ego aside. And when it comes to your ego, you need to recognize that, again, like I mentioned earlier, your client is not you.
Yes.
So your client represents all the reasons you got into this to help them.
Yes.
So you need to talk to that person, and you need to view it from that perspective. I have a beer event that I work on every year, and it's interesting because this year is the first year that I'm not actually doing the marketing for it. Instead, I'm coaching on the marketing. So I'm coaching the event. Yeah, I know, right? The event producer on how to do the marketing because he wants to do the marketing. So awesome, great. I'll coach him on it, and I sit there and I'm like, okay, look, I know you want to post that, but just consider this. And he's like, oh, this is how I want to do it. Okay, fine. I mean, if you want to do it that way, it's your event, it's your business. Knock yourself out, but just be aware that you may not get in front of the same types of audience that we were getting in front of when we were doing marketing last year, when it wasn't about my thoughts of beer and my taste buds and my experience. It was about what the person attending is going to be doing, what they like, what they do. It's all about them, not about us.
Exactly.
And your website has to be, but also on your websites in the service, like Veronica mentioned on a store, it's got to be easy to find things have to be crisp and clear, and it's got to be easy to buy from. On a website, I can't tell you how many I've gone to that I have no idea how to get in touch with people.
Yes, that's the worst thing is no telephone number.
No telephone number.
Trust item.
And I did that. I was guilty of that on my site. I was like, I don't really want anybody to talk to me. Like, oh, no, please don't email. Please don't call me. And now on my website, I mean, if you go to ClaudiaSheridan.com, there's schedule a call everywhere. My calendar is even on there for you to look at my calendar and pick a date and time to call me. And I want it to be, I sell a service. I provide a service. I help people. I want it to be as easy as possible to get in touch with me. Now, that doesn't mean I want to pick up the phone right then and there, but it does mean that it gives you a direct way to get in touch with me so that we can schedule a time to chat, which is much more valuable than you just randomly picking up. So make sure that, when it comes to your marketing, that you make it easy on the transactional side, that once they see your marketing, if they decide to take action before you've said, hey, come work with me or come buy from me, that they can go there and they can actually do something.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, as well as telephone number is huge. Address.
So let's talk about address really quick, because I have a couple of different thoughts on address. My business has an address. It is it's not my home. I work out of my home. It's not my home. It's a mail stop, and it's fine.
Mail stop is what?
Like a UPS store.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
like
a physical address, right?
It's a physical address. I
Okay.
can get mail there. Someone can sign for me. It's just,
Okay.
if you walk in, I don't fit in my little, 4 by whatever 6-inch box that they give me.
Yeah.
But my mail does.
Yes.
Right. So there's an address on there, but it's actually right now not even in the city that I live in because I've moved.
Yes.
Right. So address is interesting from a couple different perspectives. If you have clients all over the place,
yes.
Some people think, okay, why do I need an address? But I think the importance about an address is to verify that you really are who you say you are and that you exist, that you're not just some person out in some country, which, we won't mention any names of countries, but some country with a prince who's going to send you money.
Yes.
We want to make sure that you are legit and that you have things. So I do think address is important when it comes to your online marketing, and it's required if you're doing email marketing.
Yes.
It's
now
required.
it is, right?
It's actually been required since 1996, since the canned spam first came into effect.
You're kidding?
Nope.
I didn't know that. I just do the email and it pops it in.
Exactly, it pops it in, and I have some people say, "How do you take it out?" It's like, you can't. It's required. No. So let's go back to budgeting on it. So Veronica, you mentioned it was $300 is what you're looking at. You advise at least to start at $10 a day. And again, when it comes to mine as well, if you're just getting started, you can play with $1 here and $1 there just to kind of get familiar with the tools. But if you're looking for some traction, you need to start thinking about what is my budget for this campaign. And then let's talk about return on that investment. So I get the official word is that Veronica and I are going to agree is that think about, if at minimum you can, think about starting off budgeting about $300 a month for your marketing. Okay. And that number
at least 6 months.
At least, this isn't $300 for 1 month. This is $300 for 6 months. And you can do the math and figure out how many products you need to sell or how many clients you need to get in order to cover that investment, because it truly is an investment, and it's not something you do it once and you stop. So don't do it for 6 months and then stop for 6 months.
No.
Don't do it for a year and then stop for a year. It is continuous. One of the examples I love to use is I don't walk into a gym on day one, expect to work out for an hour and walk out and wonder why I'm not a size 2.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And so if you go into any gym, they tell you there's consistency and moderation, right? Everything is good in moderation, but you need to be extremely consistent.
Yes. Yes.
So marketing is the same way. Consistency. So don't stop. Budget it. Make sure that it occurs in your budget every month, year after year, and that you don't stop putting something out there. And don't just market when you need to do something. I know a lot of people who will say, I've got a program, I've got a new training I'm giving, I've got an event coming up, I've got a concert that I'm going to be doing, and I need to sell this, and so let's do the marketing. And then they don't give it any time.
Yes. And then, exactly. So you have to be, it is, the basis of any business is marketing. That's how you get customers. So why would you stop doing that? And I can tell you, they do.
Oh my gosh, they totally
stop. They stop and then they go, oh, now I'll pick it up again. And I'll go, no.
You know where else they skimp, which cracks me up? On these little things. Pens.
I know, right?
Right? If you work for any business and we're tight on things, like, don't buy pens. That's the first thing. Don't buy pens. Don't buy pens. Don't work on Facebook marketing. Take your ad out of the paper. Like, as if a 3-cent pin or a $1 pin is going to break at the end of the day is going to break your business. You know what I mean? Now, if you've got $1 trillion company with X number of pens and everybody's taking a pen, then, stop taking the pens. But, but that's where they tend to skimp. They tend to skimp on what I call the nice to haves versus the gotta haves.
Yes.
The nice to have is these things. It's really nice for me to have. You know, I'm going to talk to Tim really quick too. Tim, if you're watching, Tim is my guy where Tim wants, the nice camera setup. And so he's got, the green screen and all this stuff. And yesterday I was like, dude, you have a phone. Yeah. Just start your videos. Done is better than perfect. So the green screen, the nice DSLR camera, all that to do the lighting, all that stuff. Those are all what I call nice to haves. Yes. You gotta have. Then there's the gotta have. I gotta have a phone in order to do business. My phone is right there. There we are, live right there. Oops, I clicked volume. Where's the volume? Stop. I'll just turn it down. But I gotta have a phone to do business, and therefore my phone is my gotta have. And guess what? My phone can totally act as my studio as well. So think about the nice to haves and the gotta haves, and absolutely put marketing as a got to have. So budget for marketing because it's an investment in your business.
You can't stress that enough. You can't stress that enough.
Quickest way to get out of, to lose your business, or quickest way to not have clients, is stop marketing.
Yes, exactly. Rather not have the app for your store, rather do the marketing before you do anything else, because otherwise you're just throwing money away.
Totally.
And we're not even throwing money away. You're leaving money on the table. It's amazing how many online stores don't do enough marketing. They've got the gadgets, they've got the website, they've got the apps, and maybe we need this app, maybe we need this app. They're so worried about downloads and everything. They spend no money on marketing, no budget, nothing. And then they haven't, as you said, then they say, I need to sell something for what's coming up, Halloween, right? Maybe we should do some marketing. No, you should have been doing marketing since January, right?
Totally. I mean, right now I'm working with my clients on marketing for 2019. And just for a point of reference for anybody watching this on the replay, today's date is September 18th of 2018. So, and we're talking about 2019 already, because there's certain things we need to put into place that we probably should already had in place. So you have to plan for marketing as well. So those of you that are just joining us, we have about 13 minutes left on today's show. I know it goes by quick, right, Veronica?
Yes, I know.
But we are talking about budgeting and marketing, and we're going to jump into ROI here for the last 13 minutes of the show. But you are on with Veronica Jeans, e-commerce expert and mentor, and myself, Claudia Sheridan, digital marketing strategist and coach. And we are talking about budgeting for your marketing, how to make marketing a priority. So let's jump into the return on investment. We already know it's an investment. So those of you that are out there, repeat after me. Marketing is an investment. Say that 3 times every day when you wake up in the morning until you believe it, right? Because marketing is an investment. But then how do we know what our return is like? I mean, I know that there's certain things that I tell my clients. How do you advise your clients, Veronica, on to figure out if their marketing is working and what their return is like?
Well, it's really hard to see anything happening. I don't expect anything to happen within the 6 months. It's happened slowly and surely if they're doing it consistently all the time, right?
Because you're building momentum.
Exactly. And then if it goes down, then you have to fix the wheels, right? Because there's something is not right. You need to put some air in the wheels.
Or if you stop, you got to start over.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Exactly. So, no, I can't afford it this month, but I went to 2 expensive dinners and I couldn't afford it, right? So it's like, why wouldn't you spend money on your business? You've invested all this time to get it up and running, and, just, as I said, eat ramen for a month.
Right. Check your priorities. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Your business was such a priority at one point in time. Why is it not a priority now?
Exactly, yes. And it's important. If you started a business and you want to make money, it's important.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you tell them that, it'll take a good 6 months, because I'm the same way. It's not going to happen quickly unless you have a lot of money to put up front, and you're kind of like blasting everybody. But even then, I mean, it's a crapshoot. You really don't know what's going to happen with it, because your audiences aren't refined. There isn't any longevity. There's no momentum that was built. Facebook, specifically Facebook advertising, their algorithm hasn't had time to actually kind of figure out what it is that you're trying to accomplish here to help you out. When it comes from the service side, I tend to look at lifetime value of a client, because if we look at investment, and this concept was shared to me again by my friend Rachel Cosgrove, and she works a lot with gym owners, and it's like, what is the lifetime value of that client? If the person is going to work with you, whether in a coaching capacity, a done for you capacity, if you're a gym, a personal trainer capacity, what is that client truly worth to you? So, when we go back to my friend's campaign that we did $2,600 that brought in $1,000, that $1,000 was step 1.
Yes.
So she's got more room to get from this client So yes, if we look at just the raw numbers, we'll say, okay, it cost us $2,600 to bring that client in the door, right? $2,600 to bring this, XYZ client in the door. But if that XYZ ends up spending $20,000 with us over the life, it only cost me $2,600 to get that client in the door. It was absolutely worth it. And that's where it becomes an investment, right?
Exactly.
And so we look at it from that perspective.
Same thing with online stores. I mean, you're selling products. So is that customer coming back to you to actually buy another product again and again and again? Right. So are they going to buy the bats next year? Are they going to buy the clothes from you when you're in a sports situation, or if the skincare, or whatever you're selling? If you have gift items, are they going to come back to you to buy the gift item? So one or two probably biggest mistakes is online store owners don't leverage their emaal. Really Huge. Don't leverage, right? And
service providers don't either.
No, I know. And so actually, there are quite a few things I don't do. But
that's okay. I mean, it's do as I say, not as I do right now.
Exactly.
I do emails.
Yes, I've started. But so you don't do the emails, and then they've got all these customers that have come in, and then they don't say, hey, they'll come in again because they've actually taken their credit card out and spent some money with you. So they've trusted you to take the money and trusted you that you will send their product to them, and they loved your product. So why wouldn't you sell to them again?
Right.
And then so you got to think about different ways to actually get your customers to come back in again. They're not going to remember from one day to the next to come back again.
There's too much competition.
There's too many shiny things and objects that's going on. Lots and lots of noise. If I look at just the marina that I live in, I'm surrounded by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just here, not even down the road, marinas.
Yeah.
So we're literally competing with all these marinas in advertising or staying in front of people, and and the budget is minute.
Right.
Minute. I get $200 a month.
Right. Well, it's it's better than nothing. That's what I always say. It's better than nothing.
So we try and work with it, but exactly. So funny enough is. We started to do it consistently now, and I'm hoping that we can see the return of investment. They know what it is because we've done this before, right? And then we stopped.
Right.
So now we've got to start again and start doing, and they're really selling a product which is the slip.
Right.
But it's not something that you can it's really a long-term investment. So with anything that you sell it is a long-term investment.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. It's an investment for sure.
Exactly. I mean, people are not going to look at your little thing and go, oh, I need that right this instant, right? No. Except if it's something that it's a
I think the only thing people say that to is like toilet paper.
Or yes.
Like toilet paper. Oh, I need that.
I know, right? Or food. But still, even with food, you don't buy the same stuff.
Right.
So you've got to remember that if you're not in front of your customers all the time, then how are they going to remember you when they do need you, right?
When they do need you. You want to be that top of mind person. And I think that's huge. And I love that even the marina, even though it's a small budget of $200, that they've committed to consistently putting that money out to make sure that it does start to gain momentum. Because to go back really quick on the return on investment, a really quick way to gauge it, if you've just started out with digital marketing, is look at your bottom line and ask yourself, what are you doing differently? If the one thing you're doing differently is you're investing time and money into your digital marketing, then the difference that you're coming in is your return on that investment. If, however, you use digital marketing to replace something else, that's an unfair load that you're expecting from digital marketing. So think about, if you're going to add digital marketing in, keep doing everything else that you're doing. Don't stop doing that.
No.
And then add digital marketing and see what that difference is. And there's calculators that you can use. And I know that Veronica has one. I have one as well. And we'll share. I don't know, Veronica, if you have your link if you know where to find yours. But I have a calculator as well that goes with an article about the lifetime value of a client. It's available at claudiasheridan.com/lifetime. And, it says, like, if you're going to spend, if your client is worth this much money, then what was your return on your ad spend for that? And it takes in consideration the continued relationship. So the assumption is, and I know we shouldn't be assuming, but this is something you should be doing, is that you're continuously marketing to the people that have already purchased from you, that you now have a relationship with.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Veronica mentioned that earlier too.
Yeah, but I've just been thinking about one thing is, okay, so you have a product, and if you haven't tested the market to see if people actually like it, then that could be your downfall. You could spend a hell of a lot of money selling this product that nobody really wants, because they'll buy it once and they won't come back. So
or they may not buy it at all. I have a good example for that as well. I have a former client of mine who, he thought his product was the end all be all, everyone needs it, and he invested a lot of money in packaging, a lot of money in boxes, a lot of money in production, bought a warehouse, hired people to put this stuff together, and then marketing started, and it was really slow going, and he started freaking out, and he's like, well, it's the marketing's fault. And it's like, well, did you do any test things, and yes, the product is popular in the area where he lives, but he purchased a specific type of rights to this product, and he can't specifically market in that area. And so it's like the one place where everybody knows what it is the one place you can't market, which means you are now going to a really, really cold audience. And, and it pains me because this was all brought up ahead of time, but this is how he wanted to proceed. So, hey, at the end of the day, you can only do what you can do, but make sure you have a viable product. Make sure you've tested it.
Yes. And then, so also one of the other points, I've had a client that sells greeting cards, which is really, really, really difficult to sell because nobody sends greeting cards. Right. When last did you ever receive a greeting card in the mail? Right.
Birthday. Oh, I see birthdays and Christmas.
Yeah, right. And then, and now on top of that, it's a inappropriate greeting card. So now you're going from this amount of customers to this amount of customers. Right. Because everybody loves it, but they don't buy it. Right. And then
kind of like type of
yes, exactly, right. I can't show. Is anybody watching me?
Right.
So it's extremely difficult to sell. Plus, now you're spending money on advertising, and your profit margin is extremely small. So how many products do you have to sell to actually make a return on investment of what you're investing in advertising? Right. So that's what you also got to think about is your profit margins, right? Because you can be selling 10 of these things and make $2 where it's costing $25, and your cost of conversion is not on your profit, it's actually on the price of the product. Right. So then you're thinking, well, I'm not making money. Yeah, it's not the profits.
It's your profit margin. And the same thing with any service stuff. I mean, it typically when it comes to the service industry, we're selling time. Yes. Right? And so we start to think, well, what is our time worth and what is that? And sometimes there's a huge inconsistency with that as well. But we tend to think, the cost of a lead or the cost of a client should be extremely low because the risk is higher. Yes. I need to get in front of more people. And the reality is no, it's the same principle. You can sell a $20 hour or you can sell a $10,000 hour. And if the value is there, you'll find an audience for it. But the audience for the $10,000 hour is a little bit more refined and defined than it is for the $20 an hour person. Exactly. So, and expectations that come with it. So
you get what you pay for, right?
You totally get what you pay for. So I want to kind of bring this up to a close. And when it comes to your final words, Veronica, on budgeting and your ROI specifically when it comes to marketing.
So spend some money on marketing. Have a budget for at least, I'll say 6 months, but I want to say a year.
A year is better.
A year is better. Nowadays, a year is a lot better, especially if you are looking at a small budget. It's going to take you so much longer to get to the top, right? To rise to the top. And the ROI, that's very difficult because it just depends on how much they're investing, what their profit margins are,
right?
How much are the customers are going to come back. How
so
good
maybe
is
it's
the
know your
product.
numbers.
Know your numbers.
Know your numbers.
Know your numbers. Yes,
and that's
absolutely.
huge. And I'm going to echo those sentiments. I know that, and I want to be very clear. We're saying, to make sure that you give it a year. We're not saying you're not going to get results on the very first ad campaign. Far from that. You may. Who knows?
Yes,
you may come in front
absolutely.
of that first person and be like, score.
Yes.
So that's entirely possible. And yes, it is doable. But the reality is that is it an investment? And so expect for the long play. I mean, if you plan on being in business for a long time, expect to be managing and marketing your business for that length of time.
Yes.
And even when you pass, your legacy down, marketing doesn't stop, right?
Yeah.
So plan on marketing. And so in my words would be your final parting words is marketing is an investment. It is not an expense. So make sure you consider it that way because there's a long-term play. And when it becomes to your return on investment, know your numbers and track what you're doing differently, because if you're not measuring what is happening, that which gets measured can be improved. If you're not measuring it, then you don't know what's happening. You're just kind of guessing, and guessing doesn't get you very far when you're being held accountable to either results, to whether you're answering to your husband, your wife, your spouse, or you're answering to the board of directors or to a company president. Measure your results, and then you can have a much better argument. So, those of you that joined us, we're so happy that you were here with us. Veronica, very quickly, tell them where they can find you.
Veronica Jean's Mentor on Facebook.
Awesome. And you can find me at Claudia Sheridan 1 on Facebook as well. We hope to see you guys right back here next Tuesday at 1 o'clock Pacific and
3 o'clock Central.
3 o'clock Central. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.